Hey, Christoph here. Here's another accessibility test. This is a very quick one. Just took, I don't know, half an hour or so. Click through the app, create an account, receive and send, and use accessibility tools for VoiceOver and voice control to see if I can use this application without tapping or scrolling. Just kind of, swiping left and right to select things, double tapping to activate things, and listening to what the phone reads out aloud. So I found the usual issues overall. There are definitely some blockers in there that make the app pretty much unusable for somebody who relies on accessibility. But I do think that most of these things are usually very easily fixable. Let's hop into the main one. So one of the big issues is that when you have modals like this in the application, they always, obviously they're modals, they sit on top of another screen. Now, typically, how you need to program it is that when a user selects things on the screen, once accessibility tools, you just kind of go left, select the next thing, read it out to me, decide if you want to activate it. If not, move on to the next thing. And they're usually controlled what's selectable by the current, thing that you're supposed to be focused on. So I would expect that if there's a modal here, I can only select this text, and these two buttons, and then I select the next thing. It just kind of rotates. The problem is, though, that I can select everything else behind the scenes. So, for example, I was able to swipe a few times. That allowed me to select this more alert button here. Then I could double tap, and it opened this menu behind this modal. And that's something that you don't want, because users, they just kind of get lost. They have like a modal about one thing in the front, and then the application is doing something completely different in the background. That was the case here with this modal. Was the case here with the login modal. And somewhere else. Yeah, this also, that's not an LN invoice. This showed up when I went to the scan screen, and I did not have anything useful in my clipboard. I still did press the paste button, and then I got taken to the home screen with this modal, and I was actually not even able to close it. There's no close button. Without accessibility tools, I was able to tap the background, and this disappeared. But with accessibility tools, this was not possible. So as a user, I was stuck in the application with this modal visible. So it just needs kind of a close button. Very simple fix there. Then let's continue. I think some of these labels are overall pretty good. You can see some of the hit areas. It's not a big deal. They're pretty big here. I would recommend when the menu is enabled that the label for this doesn't also say more, but it says something like close menu. Or back to home screen or so. Here is, you see the icon here for logo USD and sell Bitcoin. There are two separately selectable elements, and it should be just one element that's called, sell Bitcoin button. But now it says like logo USD image, and then you go to the next one, it says sell Bitcoin text. And it's just a lot of stuff to go through. So grouping things logically here would be awesome. And that also applies to a few other places. There are a couple of other things. When I went to click buy Bitcoin, I decided I did not, well, actually, it told me I had to log in. Didn't really quite explain how that's connected. I can obviously put that together. And when I press cancel, I see this thing here, this toast that says no problem. If you ever change your mind, just press the red button again. Now, of course, I don't see any red buttons here. I assume it refers to this one, but that's not really obvious here. And also this toast here shows up for a couple seconds as a user who can see. I understand it, but it is not read out loud to a person who can see it, so they're not aware that this toast here even exists. But there are solutions to that as well. Just need to put the focus on it and whatnot. Here, a couple small things. So when you have something like plus and 10,000, the plus is one selectable element, then 10,000 is one selectable element. That should just be one thing that says plus 10,000 or plus 10,000 sets. So just a similar grouping issue. Same here, there's like arrow round up is a selectable thing. That doesn't even have to be selectable. It should be just swipe up. And tapping also works here, so that's great. I don't only have to swipe up. I can actually tap this. I've also seen it where some things can only be reached via swiping, and then user-aligned and accessibility tools is lost. Here, main thing is that there are 2 images. The QR code is read out just as image. That should say something like scan this QR code to copy invoice, or and then this image, wallet of Satoshi, that should not even be selectable. That should not be a thing. Then what else? I think that was all pretty good. Oh yeah, when you double tap the QR code to copy, Toast shows up. It's not read out loud. Blind user gets no feedback on that they actually copied this. Nothing crazy here. Okay, that makes sense. And an invoice, we talked about this one. This here was pretty confusing from a usability perspective. So I had 10,000 in the account. I received the 10,000. I did not have to pay a fee. So from my Blue Wallet, I sent 10,000. I received all the 10,000. I thought, awesome, no fees. Let's see if it works the other way. Now, it tells me. So I copy pasted this invoice in here for 10,000, and now it tells me that I need to cover potential routing fees, which was a little bit surprising because it's custodial. Wasn't sure if it actually how this works, and I wish it would have just told me the maximum you can send is I think 9,969 or something like that is the exact amount. So it'd be great if not just say 0.3, but tell me here's the maximum that you need to send. And this modal here, this toast here, it also disappeared very quickly. There's a lot of red when I landed on the screen. Was a little bit scary. Also said insufficient funds. I wish this would be better integrated. Wasn't sure if this is a button or something. Maybe the text here could just say 10,000 sats requested. Your maximum send balance is 9,970 or so. Just integrated directly into this graphic here. Also wasn't sure why it says 10,000 here at the bottom again. Yeah, it didn't totally make sense to me. And then the balance also, I would have, my balance is 10,000, send max. I guess my max is not 10,000, but yeah, I think the 0.3% reserve just needs to be integrated better into this design. Also, there were several elements. There must be a screen behind this screen that's still somehow selectable. I assume it's the home screen that were also selectable. Somehow I managed to enter the amount input screen, but I wasn't really sure when I changed things. I couldn't see the number that I was changing, so I really wasn't sure if this was an error, if I even should have been able to select this one or not. It was a bit confusing. Then I changed the invoice to 9,950. Then it worked just fine. Everything was good. And the final screen, also, image, that should be like green checkbox, or you can just make that not selectable because it doesn't really add much content here. Same for custom bold. You can also see this Wallet of Satoshi. Actually, there was another point here somewhere where, down here, it just reads out as image. It should say Wallet of Satoshi logo, something like that. And I think that's it. So I think, unfortunately, users currently, it's kind of easy for them to get stuck and kind of get lost in the structure due to that focus management and some of the labeling. But I do think with kind of a thorough sprint to address a lot of these things, this should all be very easily fixable. And the users who need those extra, who rely on those extra accessibility tools, they will thank you very much for it. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully that was helpful.